Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing beautifully well. Today I'm going to be talking about tips that greatly helped me in my apartment search here in London. I am a 19-year-old student who moved out of student residence into an apartment here in London, and I am by no means a professional or a real estate agent. These are just things that I learned throughout the process and tips and advice that I would like to share with you. I will be dividing this video into 3 parts. One will be the start of the search, the second will be what you do when you find a place you like, and the third will be the lease and the contract that you are signing. I'll put timestamps in the description if there's any part that you would like to skip on, or if there's anything in particular that you're searching for. Also, one last thing to bear in mind, please know that your experience will be very different from mine, as everybody's, but these should give you a good sense of what the market is like and what to expect from it. So without further ado, let's get started. The start of the search. There are multiple platforms that you can look at to rent in London. The main ones would be Rightmove or Zoopla. You can also look at Facebook Marketplace, but be very wary because there are a lot of frauds on Facebook Marketplace. They will tell you that there's a 2-bedroom beautiful rooftop apartment in the heart of London in Soho for £800 a month. So just be mindful that that is not accurate. I'm not saying that every ad on Facebook Marketplace is a fraud, but just be mindful. My first tip for looking in the London market would be to look early, and I'm talking months early. When I'm saying look months early, I'm not saying look months early because you're gonna find a place looking in August when you want to rent in January. That's not what I'm saying at all. The point of looking early is to kind of know what the market is like at the moment, to get a feel for it, to get a sense of what you can get for the budget that you have. This will give you a very good idea and help you refine your search criteria for when you actually want to look and lease a place. Another thing that's really beneficial when looking early is you can sign up with agencies. They will send you house offers when the time comes for you to rent. They can also help you through your journey of looking for a place to stay and give you a good idea of what you can get for your budget and when you should start looking. I would say in my experience when I was looking, a place becomes available a month to 6 weeks after it's put on the market. So that is also something to keep in mind, and it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to find my place, and I moved in a month later. So it was about a 7-week process. So if you are looking to move in early January, I would highly recommend looking beginning of November, but also keep in mind that the winter months are slower months in the real estate market. So maybe you'll be able to have more of a flexibility and negotiation with the landlord depending on when you want to move in, because those are kind of the low months of the real estate market. The high months would be summer because everyone wants to move during the summer. It's also a time where all the students want to get their own place, or when graduate students can't stay in student residence anymore, so it's a very competitive time to look. I started looking for my apartment beginning of April and I moved in beginning of June. That was like a 2-month period, so that probably gives you a good idea of what the London market is like during the summer. Don't be too picky, be flexible. You will not get everything you want in an apartment, that is for sure, unless you raise your budget. If you have a budget of $1,500 a month, don't expect to get a very nice 2-bedroom apartment. Yes, in some places you might be able to, maybe more on the suburbs area of London, but to be in London, that's not a very tangible idea. But some people do get lucky and it might come to you, but those places that are that tangible will go fast, so you also have to act quickly. Also know that there is always something that you can negotiate with the landlord. For instance, I really wanted a furnished place, and when I moved in here there was no desk, and I know it sounds stupid, but for someone who doesn't know how long they're staying in London for, it was really important for me to not have to move any big furniture. So it was really important for me that my place came with a desk, and I asked the landlord if he could put a desk, and he said he could. So be flexible, but also know that you can discuss and that you can ask the real estate agent if they can compromise on anything. If you are looking at the market and there is a place that you really like but has been on the market for quite a while, please be careful. There is probably something wrong with those places. It is not a good sign if a place is on the market for too long, especially if you have not visited it yet. The pictures are probably very deceiving because there are a lot of catfish places in London. Some pictures will look fantastic and then you go there and A, it's either a completely different apartment, or B, it's just nothing like the photos. Also, a lot of landlords will reuse some pictures that they took years ago, so the apartment might look completely different today and have issues that you can't see within the pictures. So please go visit the apartments before you put any offer in, and also be very cautious about places that have been on the market for a while. Talking about budget, there are a couple places in London where utilities are included. For example, where I am right now, utilities are included, so that was not something I needed to factor into my budget. But most places, I would say 80% of places in London, do not include utilities, which is something very important to think about when looking to rent, because your budget will probably go over maybe £300 a month, especially because electricity and bills in general have gone way up currently in London. So your bills will add on an extra £200 or £300 depending how big it is and where it is. So factor in that cost within your budget. Also know that if you are a student, you do not need to pay council tax, and that is something very, very, very advantageous as a student, because council tax can be expensive, but you do not need to pay that as a student. You finally found a place you really, really liked and you're super excited about it, but wait, slow down, don't get too excited. The London market is very competitive in every sense of the word. Probably the place that you love is loved by many others as well. If someone has a better application than you, they will not care to refuse yours. So do not get your hopes up. I know this is a very hard thing to do, because when you do see a place that you like, you immediately see yourself living there. And it's very important to see yourself living there, because if you can't see yourself living there, then there's no point in even liking the place and putting an offer in. But you also have to keep a rational mind, and if you find a place that you can see yourself living in, know that there will be other places too. There was one place that was ideal for what I wanted, and I saw myself living there. I was the first person to view it. I was the first person to put an offer in, and they didn't accept my offer, and I was so sad, and it took me like 2 days to recover. But I found something that was much more suitable for me. I have made it and turned it into something that makes me have no regrets at all, and honestly makes me feel thankful that I did not get the other one, because I think that there were things that I was willing to wave off. Love is blind. But now that I look back on it, I know that there would have been issues in the long run with that place. Great, you found a place you love, but do you like the agent as well? This is really, really important, because your relationship with the landlord and the agent is going to be a relationship you will sustain for the amount of time that you are in that place. If you don't get good energy from the landlord or the real estate agent, do not take the place. I know this is something that people are willing to pass off and say that they'll deal with it when they get the place, but the truth being that your real estate agent will always be your real estate agent, and your landlord will most likely not change within the time that you're staying there. And if you have any issues at all with the place that you're staying at, those are the people that you will turn to. I've met some very grumpy real estate agents and landlords within my time looking at places, and it totally demotivated me to put an offer in. Do not pass that factor off as unimportant or something that you can look over, because at the end of the day, it is a relationship that you have with someone, and they have full control over the place that you're staying in. So keep that in mind. You put an offer in, you're super excited, you gave the asking price, all wonderful. However, in today's market, places will go for much higher than the asking price. That is just a reality of it all. So don't really expect to put in £1,500 a month if the place is going for £1,500 a month, because someone who will put £20 more a month will most likely get the place. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but in my experience for this place, I had gone a tiny bit over asking. I think I put in like £25 more a month than what was asking, and they came back to me and asked if I could put £5 more in or they wouldn't accept my offer. And I know it sounds really stupid and very tedious, and it is. Sorry, that's the truth. But just that £5 could have made the difference. The truth of the matter is, real estate agents and landlords have control of the offer that you put in. Like what they did to me, they asked for 5 more and they said they wouldn't take it if no. But manipulation is kind of part of the game, and you have to be careful of that, and you have to factor that in when you do see a place that you like. Don't think that that will be what the apartment will go for. If you're a student like me, they will most likely ask you to pay 6 months of rent up front, because they think that you are unreliable, and because you are a student, you have no income coming in, so they want to be sure that you will be paying your rent, so they ask you to pay 6 months in advance. You can also provide a guarantor, but I know that that is complicated, especially if you're international like me. What I did though, when I found the place that I really, really liked, was put 12 months up front, which I know is crazy and very unobtainable for a lot of people. Fortunately, I have the ability to do that, but I know that it's very, very unattainable for a lot of people. So I would say go for 6 months if that's the best you can do. Do what you are comfortable doing. Which leads me to my next point. Even though real estate agents and landlords can be very pushy and manipulative, don't do something that is out of your comfort zone and that you do not want to do. If you can't pay 12 months up front and they are insisting on you paying 12 months up front, don't give in, because that's what your relationship will be like for the rest of the time that you are in that apartment. If they're pushy about this one thing, they will be pushy about other things, and they will be picky, and you don't want that kind of conflict with the people that are taking care of the place that you're staying in. You found a place you like, they have accepted your offer, and now you are looking through all the documents and signing your lease. Firstly, letting agency fees. I honestly did not come across any agencies that made me pay extra fees for viewing apartments. That also may be just because my agency takes care of this building and they are the landlord of this building, so it might be completely different and I'm not very informed on this particular topic. But be wary and please ask before you sign any contract, because there might be hidden fees that agencies don't tell you about. Another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at your contract is your break clause. Now, break clause is if you want to move out of your apartment, how much time you need to give, and also you need to look at if there's any fees if you do want to break your contract. This is very important to look at because once you get into that contract, there is practically no way of changing it once you signed it. So be very, very careful that everything you want included in your contract is written on the contract, and everything you have discussed is also on there. And finally, the last thing that you should do is once you have moved in, they will send you an inventory list of the state of your apartment once you move in. For example, on that list, they would put all the furniture and the state of the furniture if your apartment is come furnished, every marks or scratches on the walls or on countertops or on the floors, and any of the equipment such as shower, toilet, oven, stove. The state of all of those items will be on the inventory list once you move in, and you will have to sign that list. Be sure that everything is marked. If you move in and there's a huge scratch on the floor and it is not on the inventory list, tell them. Don't be afraid to add or take out things of your contract that you're not comfortable with, because that big scratch on the floor that was not on the inventory list can be taken out of your deposit fee once you move out. Anything that is wrong with your apartment should be on that inventory list. This prevents your landlord or real estate agent to say that you are the one who caused damage to the place that you are staying in. Anyway, those are all my tips. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If I come up with more tips, I may do a part 2, but for now, that's all I have for you. If you have any questions at all about renting in London or anything whatsoever, please leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer you. But thank you very much for watching, and if you have any recommendations at all, as usual, leave them down below, and I hope you very much enjoy and this helped you greatly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!